and welcome to Outlook Cover Discussion. This week we revisit Kashmir in some ways, but in a completely different manner. It is not about why it is in the headlines, why is it in the news, in TV news. Obviously, as an aftermath of the film Kashmir Files, but as always, we are trying to do it completely different. It's more visiting that time, talking to people, artists, writers, people who have gone through, the conflict of the 90s, beginning then, and what was life like then, and how it sort of changed. Where is it now? What lies ahead? So that's been our attempt this week. There is hardly any political writing, as said, though.
But everything is political.
Yeah, every poem, every article, every story, there are short stories which are as political as they can be. So that has been our attempt this week.
Yeah, and we decided to go with this cover because there was this whole discussion about this film which both of us haven't seen. And, we decided not to see it also. That worked as a trigger in the sense that we were intrigued as to what there was this other side, and in journalism we always look at all the sides, and we thought, what about this other side? So we had our reporters go to Kashmir and Jammu, both the places actually, and find out stories from these places, about people, about the camps, the living conditions. These are very unusual people, unusual in the sense the cover artist, and which is Khaitul Abiyad, who I met in 2016 in Kashmir.
Yeah.
And she is a graphic novelist, and she is a young woman who comes from Anantnag, from a very political family. We contacted her, and she has written a stellar piece about growing up in Kashmir and what happens to, like when you have these memories.
On the other side, there is, Siddharth Gigu, for instance, who writes about, his Dada Dadi, and their time, and what the stories that they told him, and and how, the difference between sort of their idea of what things were or should be and what in reality they are. So it's really a sort of a, it's not fiction, but it's like a small vignette from his
it's
as a Kashmiri Pandit.
Memoir, I think.
It's it's like part of his memoir. I mean, there are many more. Gaurav Monga.
Yeah,
he's written.
That.
If you want to say his grandfather had this most popular studio in Srinagar, in Lal Chowk.
Studios,
Monga Studios.
His grandmother was this fashionista and used to own a clothing store.
Yeah.
And there are these archives and archives of personal family photos. And at some point, his grandfather also started taking photos of militants in Lal Chowk area.
Those photographs actually tells its own tale, how things have changed. What happened at that time. So it's like recorded history. Then we have this archival thing about what happened. Nasir, our colleague Ganai from Srinagar, has written about. So we went and looked at the headlines of that time. The newspaper clippings of that time.
And that's the real Kashmir Files.
Yeah, that's true. The real Kashmir Files. And then in this context, Anuradha Bhasin, who is the editor of Kashmir Times, and she's written a piece about what it was like to edit a paper. In the 90s and even now, for that matter.
Yeah. And then the other interesting thing is about by this artist Veer Munshi, whose artworks we have used, and there's a lot more that will be online because the magazine is only so much space, and so Veer Munshi is an artist who left Kashmir at the time, and forever he has been looking for a house in Kashmir, and his whole project is about these Kashmiri Pandit houses, and so he has written about In Search of Home.
Again, it's like, they're like more than they're creative pieces actually, short stories, poems, artwork. Visually, I think, we've got,
strong,
we have a very, very strong.
We have worked really hard on it.